Today, we're going to break down a little bit of where the market is and whether or not it is stalling in a holding pattern. And I think it's going to be a very interesting play out. Let's just get right to it. I want to open up with a clip from Andreessen Horowitz that talks about this position where we are now. Take a look.
I think we are in a little bit of a holding pattern as an industry. There certainly feels like there's a lot riding on the Clarity Act, which continues to be kind of a hot topic in DC and something that the industry is very actively working on. If that does pass, that should unlock a lot of positive momentum for the space, but it's a little bit hard to say when exactly that's going to happen.
All right, so what you can see there is with this analyst, they're looking at a couple of things. Obviously what we've seen with the S&P, but also just the issue of where crypto has started to fatigue. And it's fatiguing right around mid-70s on Bitcoin. If you take a look right now of where the S&P 500 is, you can see an all-time high at 7,200. This is after multiple all-time highs in the month of April. This, of course, burns into, or in May, now as we're in May, this, of course, burns into whether or not this market will hold on through the month of May in a positive green. Let me know what you guys think. Is this still in play for an up month on the S&P? The things that will possibly dictate to this is this right here, and that is what's happening in the Mag 7. You look at NVIDIA up 19%, Microsoft 11%, Amazon. These kind of numbers just in this month of April, 6 trillion added to the U.S. stock market. So continuing to watch all of this take place is absolutely insane going forward. One other thing that you consider is Apple leading the way. Apple, of course, after earnings calls and a new CEO kind of laying the trap of a new roadmap coming out, has put Apple up 4% after the reporting. Stronger than expected Q1 2026 earnings. All of that playing well into where this market is. And that puts everybody in the greed zone over on the fear and greed for TradFi. So just keep a look at that. If you compare that to what's going on in crypto, look where we are, guys. This is absolutely insane, holding it around 45, and that is very neutral position right now. I think we're going to stay here for a while until we start to see some movement in the overall market. One other thing I want to hit on right here from Ted Pillows. If you guys don't follow him, by the way, you should. He's Ted Pillows over on X for the audio guys. Stock market is now being pumped using the same news over and over. It's Friday again, so get ready for another one. We're seeing an all-time high slip right back into the market. And of course, the thing that concerns me with is where does inflation go from here? When we see these kind of stock market numbers, it tells me one thing. Inflation continues to hold strong, and it is one of the factors that the Fed is going to have to deal with unless he gets a stronger, which would be terrible, number on declining jobs. That, I think, is the secret weapon for Kevin Warsh, is going to be job loss that will give him enough power to possibly sway the Fed and move them into a cutting position. Now, I want to go to the next clip here, because this gets into whether or not Warsh has enough votes. Take a look.
And perhaps the bigger picture is this idea that there's even more dissent on the board than there's ever been in the last 30 years. So Kevin Warsh is walking into a unique situation.
He is walking into a very interesting situation. I thought the three dissents, not around the setting of policy, but around the so-called, guidance, the tilt, the bias. That, I think, is unprecedented, in terms of three presidents saying, we agree with the stance of policy, we don't like with the hint that you gave out there. And it shows the degree of concern about rising existing inflation, which is already sticky, and rising inflationary pressures. And it does say that incoming chair Warsh is going to have to walk a fine line, because it's pretty clear that he does not have the votes for any immediate action, certainly not lowering rates in the near term.
All right, so you can see if Warsh can get two things underway. First, well, three things, because I want to talk about where Powell sits right now, because he actually becomes a strategic chess piece in this game. But if you look at the Fed rate cut possibility right now on Polymarket, it is still skyrocketing right now at 60% of no Fed rate cuts in 2026. I don't think this is true, guys. I actually think maybe there is a backdoor here that is waiting to happen. And one of the things that I think will happen is this right here. Trump continues to put pressure on Powell. Powell is getting upset. And does Powell use this as a bargaining chip to get an exodus out of the Fed? Because remember, If he exits the Fed governor position, Kevin Warsh might get another favorable vote within the Fed, which could lay up for a potential Fed rate cut. That is what Trump is lining up. I think this is a very interesting cat and mouse game right now between Powell and Trump. It's not over, guys, so keep it looking. Here's the other thing that's drawing in the market right now, and that is the Bitcoin ETFs. $2 billion in April for the highest monthly inflows in this year. This continues to blow me away because this is institutional capital, which is dragging in some retail. This is where it gets a little cautious because I am very concerned about how this market retraces. If it does, do we see a big move down? So just keep your eyes open on all of that. And let me know what you guys think, because this is a factor I think that really starts to maybe play out in the next few months leading into whether or not we get clarity or not. We'll talk about that in a second. Before we go there, I want to go to this right here. It was an interesting tweet by Andy, and he says, watch what Sailor's Stretch is doing in terms of that derivative and that product. This is something unique because BitMine and ETH, Tom Lee, they don't have a product like that. Could he? Is it time, and the rumor mills are starting to stir, maybe BitMine launches a Stretch-like product with performance and return on capital. If you guys did not see that video, go back and watch the Strategy CEO video that we did last week with Fong Lei. This was unbelievable of how they've put this together. I'm not approving it or endorsing it, but what I'm saying is it's very interesting in terms of a financial instrument and the kind of tools that they did this. If ETH gets something like this, guys, this could get big and big quick. Other things you got to look at is where DeFi is going. This is a very big concern of mine. DeFi, of course, ends its most hacked month in crypto history by a number of incidents, and it's already started off in May with another one. I'm a little concerned about where DeFi is right now. I don't think it goes away, but I do think it does create a little bit of a roadblock for new people coming in, and that's a big concern because the growth is really going to be dictated by new users. The other thing I want to consider right now is where crypto is, and that is it is this most snoozed topic on X right now, despite Bitcoin having a positive April. And you can kind of see it right there. Crypto, politics, Iran, sports, business. Guys, this is one of those times where holding pattern may be a good thing. Now, the question is do we get a decline? We'll look at the charts a little bit later with Evan and hopefully get some insights on that. Other thing that we're dealing with right now with clarity is this right here. And this one is a little bit more concerning because remember, we have seen a couple of things. Tom Tillis, who's come in, he has two, I think, red lines. One, of course, was the issue with Kevin Warsh and getting him approved. And that was in reference to dealing with the charges against Chair Powell. Those were dropped. Warsh came through. The next thing, of course, Tom Tillis has is going to be the ethics scenario that plays out with the Trump family. That concerns me because if we get past Tom Tillis, now we have a new opponent, and that is now Senator Kennedy coming out of Louisiana, who is now holding support for the market structure legislation due to party frustrations with the White House over a stalled Senate housing bill, according to 4 different sources out there. So I don't know, does Kennedy become the real wrench in this whole thing as we get into this? There's a lot happening, guys. I want to go to one more clip here before I get going here. As you can hear in the background, the event is getting ready to kick off as we record this. Tim Scott breaks down where we are.
North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis is now signaling that the long-stalled Clarity Act is ready to move forward, suggesting that it is going to be headed toward a markup soon. Senator, what are your expectations?
Well, we're in the red zone if you like football. This is the best time of the game. It's going really well. Tillis and a couple of other votes on the Senate, on the Republican side on board now. I just want to have 13 of 13 Republicans. That makes it easier for us to have a bipartisan markup in May is my hope, and then we'll get this thing to the floor of the Senate June or July.
That's not necessarily a vote of confidence, and from what I heard on stage here at this event yesterday, including from Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple, is that clarity may not necessarily be fully needed. Now, that's the first time I've heard those kinds of statements, is that they aren't as concerned and they're actually looking at alternative paths. Does that tell us that maybe clarity doesn't have the ability to get through? If you like this video, hit like and subscribe, drop a comment down below, and also join our free private member group. The link is in the description.